Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Mr. Richard Larson, a man of great integrity, cares about every single bale of hay and about taking care of his customers. He also has a huge heart for those genuinely in need. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa. Peterson & Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care seeks to be a leading international veterinary practice that provides state-of-the-art veterinary care to their patients while fostering professional relationships with their clients that stand the test of time. For 24/7 and the best in equine care, check out Peterson & Smith at petersonsmith.com or like them on Facebook now for more information. Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk show on Equus Television and also for the CEP's Equine Initiative. And I am sitting with Tom Ventura, who is the president of Ocala Breeder Sales, or OBS as it's known. 5 sales a year here. Some of the top horses go through these sales across the entire USA, winning stakes races. We see them as serious Derby contenders and Breeders' Cup contenders, as well as a number of other top stakes races. Of course, the Breeders' Cup is coming up in just a few weeks, so we like to talk a little bit, first of all, about OBS and what's going on here right now, the yearling sale, and also ask Tom if he has any favorites for the upcoming Breeders' Cup races. Tom, thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank you.
The yearling sale going on here, the October yearling sale.
We hear some noise in the background. You're hollering at us.
We do. You know, I always laugh because when you see the movies on TV, the horses are always very vocal. And I tell people horses aren't always that vocal, but they are here because they're talking to each other and there's a lot of action going on. So tell us a little bit about this sale.
So the yearling sale is, the end of the yearling season, and the market has held up okay throughout the year. We've been coming off some 2 really strong years, 2 or 3 strong years, kind of post-pandemic bounce back and have been very strong. So the 2-year-olds obviously have been very good for us, and this sale is down a little bit compared to last year, but there are people here buying horses, and that's what we're here to accomplish.
That's right. Now, your 2-year-old in training sales, you have actually 3 of those. One of them has racing age horses in it too. We see every single year coming up to the Kentucky Derby and the Breeders' Cup that some of the top horses in the entire world go through this sale. It's
absolutely.
Pretty awesome. That's a pretty big shout out to OBS, right?
Yeah, it's good to sell a horse for a lot of money, but it's even better to watch him perform on the track. And the horse that's on the cover of the yearling sale is a winner that won over at Ascot, won during the Royal Ascot meeting, and a Nyquist filly called Crimson Advocate. So, that's advertisement you can't buy.
That's
and
right.
You need the horses to run on the racetrack to get the repeat business, and then to get exposure to areas where people may not have noticed, and all of a sudden they're showing up. So, over the years, we've become very international. Started out, many years ago as a group of guys trying to put a sales company and get some horses sold. And now we sell horses to people from 40 different countries and every state but Alaska. So we've spread it around, and like I said, at the racetrack when they win over the weekend and the big races, those are the ones that kind of reinforces what we do.
Absolutely. And the economic impact, of course, for this area is huge. Not to mention not just the horse sales, but all the people traveling in to buy horses here.
Yeah, especially in the spring during the 2-year-old sales, we got a huge international influence. But even here, you see some of the Korean buyers that are here. We have some from the Dominican and some of the other places. So I think it's great for the community, and we're like the center of commerce for the horse business here.
That's right. Now, as far as the local connections go for the Breeders' Cup, we start following them, and as we get closer and closer, we see who's actually going to be in the Breeders' Cup races. Kind of the culmination of racing for the year, the best of the best show up. You must follow quite closely how many of those best of the best went through your sale, of course.
Yeah, and we're still, a couple weeks out, but just this last weekend, Muth, who topped our sale, 2.3 million, he won the American Pharaoh at Santa Anita, and then the horse that finished second was in the June sale. So we ran 1-2 in a Group 1, on the very last race on the way to the Breeders' Cup. So, yeah, those are great things to happen. And the Breeders' Cup, end of the year championships. After the Kentucky Derby, that's probably the most focal singular day. Obviously the Keeneland meet and the Saratoga meet and the Del Mar meet are shorter meets that attract a lot of attention. But in terms of events, the Breeders' Cup certainly brings it all, the year not to an end, but certainly a championship day.
Absolutely, and it must be exciting to see grads of OBS in these big races.
Oh yeah, it's always fun to see that, and it's good to see, horses bought. Obviously we want the $2 million horses to run well, but there's the $35,000 horses. I'll have another, won the Kentucky Derby, and he was a $35,000 horse. Medina Spirit was a 2-time graduate, once for $1,000 and then once for $35,000.
That was a good buy.
that was one that obviously there's some controversy involving the Kentucky Derby, but even if you take that race away, he was a legitimate racehorse and certainly proved his worth.
He did, and many more that have gone through this very sales ground that have made it to the top, and even the races that we don't talk as much about, but some of the top stakes races, the Travers, the Haskell. We always see OBS grads and from our local trainers here going through the big races, so that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. And one of the things that we struggle with sometimes is putting horses on the cover. And I don't know if you're familiar with it. So there's a Sports Illustrated jinx. Like if a team or a player gets on the Sports Illustrated cover, there's times that has caused that team or individual to go into a slump. So sometimes we feel we don't want to be guilty of causing a horse to lose a race or two because we put them on our cover. They're worthy, but at the same time, we don't want to.
We don't want to
be part of a nose beat in the Breeders' Cup.
No, we don't. Well, we're always cheering on our local connections, and we love the connection to your incredible sales ground, one of the finest in the world, world-renowned Ocala Breeders' Sales. You've been president, I think, over 10 or 11 years and done such a phenomenal job. Tom, we appreciate you so much and all of this.
Thank you. I appreciate all you guys do and making us the horse capital of the world and making everybody fully aware of what we do.
That's right. Tom, it's so good to see you. We hope to see an OBS grad in the winner's circle for the Classic, of course.
Exactly.
So, Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and the CEP's Equine Initiative at Ocala Breeders' Sales.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at SeminoleFeed.com.
And we have Niall Brennan Stables and Merrick Training and Sales. And we are going to be talking about the Breeders' Cup. And we're going to have a little fun. These two friends have both been training. How long have you both been training in Ocala for?
You're 40. 6 o'clock this morning. In my case.
Nick can't count that.
6 o'clock.
Count that high.
That's what, 8 hours?
8 hours of experience. That's a lot. 40-something years. Since you were 5.
We actually had our 40th year of selling 2-year-olds this year.
That's amazing. Fantastic anniversary.
Especially in this business.
Yeah,
That's right.
It was a lot more fun back in the day.
We've seen a lot come and go in that time, haven't we?
Oh, God.
And how long have you been training here now?
Oh, well, we're behind Nick, for sure. We started selling in 1990. So that'd be 34, so we're 7 years behind Nick.
Yeah.
It's still a long time.
It is a long time, yeah.
It doesn't seem that long. It really doesn't. It's getting a little old now.
What's the first year that you had a horse in the Breeders' Cup that you remember? Do you remember?
Off the top of my head, no, I don't.
But I bet it's been a few, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
because Breeders' Cup's been going since then.
Yeah, 30-something years, hasn't it? 33 or 4, I think.
Can't
Yeah.
remember the first one we would have had.
I just going to say, I would say the same thing. I mean, I can think of some more good horses early on, but I can't even remember if they even had the Breeders' Cup then.
Yeah. Well, they didn't 40 years ago for sure. Oh, this year's the 40th Breeders' Cup. That's it. Yeah, so it lines up with when you were first here. Yeah. Look at that. They started it for the Demerics. They said, oh, the Demerics are in Ocala. Well, let's have a Breeders' Cup.
Yeah. That's all it took. Yeah.
That's the way it
We
is.
haven't made it this far yet, though. It's the Ocala for the venue.
Yeah, right. Ocala Breeders' Cup. Yeah.
So this year, you've got how many, Niall, in the
We
Breeders'
just
Cup?
have 2 in it this year.
And
One
there.
in the juvenile fillies turf, and one in the distaff, in the fillies and the mares distaff.
And what are their names?
In the distaff, it's search results, and in the juvenile fillies, it's a filly named Hard to Justify. Both actually trained by Chad Brown, owned by different clients, but trained by Chad. But that's all we have in this year. It's okay. It only takes 2
That's right.
if they're the right one.
That's right.
And they both have chance. But then again, everybody has chances, really. And when you're going in, nobody goes into the Breeders' Cup. You know it's the best at the end of the year, and you're somewhere with the 2-year-olds especially. You've had a 2-year-old win impressively, so you next say, well, we'll just take a shot. We want to go to the Breeders' Cup. But everybody goes in thinking you've got a shot. You're not traveling all the way out there just for breakfast. But it is very competitive, and especially with the 2-year-olds, because at this time of year they're improving every week, every month. So you just don't know at this time now who's jumped up that much and improved that much in the last month. But it's fun to watch and fun to see who ends up on top.
Yeah.
The 2-year-olds, it's so much about who's best on the day, isn't it?
Yeah, I think on the trip,
as you say, they're all kind of going like this.
They do, generally most of the British Cup races, I think, I'm looking in detail yet this year, but they're always full fields, and they only allow so many in the juvenile, well, especially in the sprint, because the juvenile is on the turf, it's only 5 furlongs. And so it's a quarter horse race, basically. And, so it's really about trip. And especially for the European horses, because they're not used to running 5 furlongs around a bend. They're always 5 furlongs on the straightaway in most tracks in Europe. So they've got to negotiate the bend at full speed. So it's a little disadvantage for them, especially if they're not in the right spot, because
Good
then
point.
even in the longer races with the juveniles, they're still relatively inexperienced, many of them. And Nick's right, it's strictly about just a bit of luck. Who gets the best trip on the day, and who's right there at the end and has the best luck.
One reason it's the old juvenile derby jinx is so hard to break. I think Street Sense is the only one who's done it, isn't it?
Nyquist.
Oh, Nyquist, yeah, that's right. Those
win
2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and we know who started Nyquist.
Yeah.
We're looking up at him. Yeah, but it is very like essential quality. When he was undefeated and won the juvenile, the British Cup juvenile, but and obviously was one of the favourites going in the Derby. But it's so hard to pull off, It's even just to be there, like the juvenile winner every year, whereas the fillies or colts, if they end up in the Oaks or the Derby next year, in itself it's a huge accomplishment that they were sound, healthy, and developed that much to be there with a legitimate shot. I think to win both is almost like winning the Triple Crown.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So, Nick, you've got quite a few. Tell us about your quite a few between you and Tristan and Valerie as well.
All of ours this year are juveniles, are all 2-year-olds. We've got, I think, between us 3 in on the juvenile turf, 1 in the juvenile colts dirt, that would be General Partner, it's the Speightstown colt, and then 1 in the colts turf division, that's Stay Hot by Summerfront. So we're quite well represented with 2-year-olds this year. We don't have any older horses that are listed on the entries, but we'll take a shot with the 2-year-olds and see how we do. We've at the turf division, especially the filly division, we're pretty well represented. We've Tris and Val have a nice filly in there. Theirs is Sheepyell's Pretty. We have
name.
yeah, it's a good name. We have Austere, which is a Mendelssohn filly, and Flattery, which is by Flatter, as you'd expect. So there's 3 taking a crack at that race, and hopefully we'll get the trifecta, and I'll be somewhere way down the track.
I think Nick's just dreaming again. I think he's smelling our exhaust pipes again.
Exhaust pipes, yeah, maybe.
There wasn't always dreaming, wasn't there?
Maybe in the paddock.
But ironically, Nick's 40th year selling horses, and yet he's got all in the juveniles, which is actually an accomplishment in that, it just shows it keeps you young.
Well,
to keep doing this, and yet all your horses that are accomplished and in the Breeders' Cup are all juveniles.
Yeah.
Well, it does it makes a bit of a mockery of some of the flack that we hear about where people critiquing the 2-year-old process. Some of these came out of 2-year-old sales and some didn't. But the bottom line is they are racing at the highest level. And at the end of the day, if you're training 2-year-olds in North America, you need to be in Ocala. It's very hard to compete with our facilities, our climate, our range of backup services. And our climate. God bless this climate.
Yeah.
But, a range of facilities and veterinary clinics and blacksmiths and feed companies, it's all here.
Yes.
And really, when you compare the horses that come out of Ocala to those that come from other states, I mean, they're at a significant disadvantage. I'm not speaking of Europe. They've got their own program, but used to be in the old days, the Carolinas, South Carolina especially, was the preferred winter training ground for a lot of the bigger owner-breeder outfits. And of course, there's some that used to stick it out in Virginia and Kentucky, but really, I mean, they can't compete with us anymore.
That's true. And they don't have Nick and Niall either.
Oh, well,
so
absolutely.
Let's face it, they don't have Nick and Niall.
That's the icing on the cake, right?
If you look around, really, it's
I
quite
mean,
a compliment that there's a tremendous group of horsemen and horsewomen in Ocala.
Yeah.
There has been for years and years. I've said it forever I came here that it's not just the infrastructure that's here, but it almost is just like one huge training center. But the amount of talent that's around here, and the amount of people, younger people, that have got a chance and a shot to develop their own operation, start their own operation, and it allows you to do that here. And obviously it's very busy in the winter, but it used to be the case, but now it's year round, and it's just because, and it's all disciplines. Thoroughbreds obviously the major force, but with the development of WEC and World Equestrian Center, now it's a year-round location for equine events, and certainly the thoroughbreds in the winter, I think our horses got a much better chance to get started. It's not to say people have their own opinions. I mean, there's training outfits in Kentucky. Can they do it? Of course they can. But in general, the horses are outside, and just personally, my own belief is that the 2-year-olds being yearlings now turning 2, that are outside a lot, they're just at a big advantage. They're developing, their bone, their soft tissue. So if they're stuck in a stall in a blistering snowstorm every week, they can't develop the same way, at the same level, the same. I don't think they get the same advantages in development. At the end of the day, I think, as Nick said, the 2-year-old sale process, 80% or 90% of the 2-year-olds that go through that process are all here.
Yeah.
And are all sold here.
That's true. And every year, the Breeders' Cup and the Derby, which are the ones, obviously that's not all the stakes races, but that's kind of the two that we really focus in on because they're kind of the big deal, really big deal ones. 2/3 of the horses every year got their start here in both, so we see that every year after year. So that just really shows that the combination of excellent trainers who've made Ocala home have created an environment, and then with the climate and the soil and the water and all the other pieces, it's perfect, so it makes sense.
Florida breds have a long history of outrunning their pedigrees, and although Florida breeding is, it's struggling a little bit at the moment, the truth is that a lot of horses have performed way beyond their genetic expectations that were raised out, as Niall said, outside in a sort of, a climate that's conducive to, bone development and exercise and just living in a healthy outside environment. That on top of aquifer and the number 8 soil and the great grass that we grow here does give horses stabled here in the winter a big edge, I think.
Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, we have to listen to Lexington telling us that they're the horse capital of the world, we have to listen to that.
How dare
they are the thoroughbred capital of the world. I'm
True.
not going to contest that.
Right.
Truthfully, there's way more farms in Marion County in and around, and way more disciplines represented here than you will find in within the confines of Lexington and surrounding counties.
And maybe anywhere in the world.
You'll never get them to admit that.
That's why we're admitting it for them. We are admitting it for them.
We
Well,
are.
actually, I think we are the sister city in Ireland is Kildare,
Yep.
considered the horse capital there, and they
Absolutely.
consider Ocala, Florida, the horse capital.
They do. I was there. So you two have a little, well, you've been friends for years, but you have a little fun rivalry with one another. You had an amazing moment with Jackie at the Breeders' Cup with Nick's Go, not so, just a couple of years ago. And that was a very exciting moment. That kind of can't be topped, probably.
That was an exciting time, and for once we were in the right place at the right time, and we actually showed up that day. We also had Corniche win the juvenile, so it was a big day for us. But you know, usually we're watching on TV and sort of cheering from afar, but that day, partly because it was in Del Mar, which sounded a lot more fun than Lexington, we showed up, and I'm so glad we did.
Yes, indeed. You couldn't wipe the grin off my face when I saw you in the winner's circle with the roses. You couldn't wipe it off. So it was
Didn't get it off Jackie's face either.
exciting stuff, wonderful stuff. Last few words you've got for each other. You're friends and you're in the same business, and you must watch each other's goings on and successes and cheer each other on at dinner and over a glass of wine.
Well, you know, one thing I would say is that, I mean, all joking aside, is that we're both fortunate enough to have very competent kids who are in the business, for better or worse, and doing a great job in their respective fields. And so that's very gratifying. I'm waiting for Niall to retire, then I'm going to retire right after him. He seems to be sticking it
Nick's
out.
been saying that for 10 years, so I think, where do we go? Wait, another 10 years? We'll be 10 the same thing.
If my marriage is going to survive, I need to think about this quite soon.
Well, at least you've got good generations to come after you.
Yeah, we do.
I said that was the last thing, but I actually do have a last thing. I've been at both your farms and spoken to both of you and watched both of you training and have seen that you do something I don't see at all farms that I go to, and that is you do a lot of, when you're starting the horses when they're very young, you do a lot of different terrain, different, you know, around a lot of figure eights around hay bales and obstacles and things, and lots of work in the round pen and lots of work on the ground to start with even, and then I see you kind of changing terrain with them, riding them through the fields, up and down hills. I really think that helps horses get stronger for the, you know, the chance obviously is out there for any horse. A horse can be running through a paddock and snap a leg. We know that. So there's more chance, I feel, of breakdown for horses that aren't prepared for changes in terrain. And I feel like the way you train, you don't just have the horses just going in a circle around the track. You have them trying what it feels like to have a slightly different step, even at a young starting age. I think that's impressive.
Both now, with our respective backgrounds, grew up in a different sort of training environment for young horses. That field over there in the distance is it's not fenced, and the reason it's not fenced is because that's what we use for riding young horses. We've got trees that we figure eight around, we've got little woods trails through the woods, we've got poles set up, we make them step over poles, and we, you know, the old cliche that in America they're going to spend a lot of their lives turning left, which of course is true. We try to make sure they have a good, well-rounded education before they ever make their first step on the racetrack and make their first left turn on a racetrack. And I'm sure Niall would echo some of those sentiments.
No question.
Yeah.
Most of it is just what the background was and what we did in Europe and how we did it.
Yeah.
You know, obviously transitioning to, you know, obviously some of the ways that make sense here. For example, rain or long line that horses anymore. It's just not feasible time wise. But we do a lot of work out in the fields. A lot of figure eight, a lot of messing around. Even after down in spring, but days we'll take sets out to the field, just something different. When we go on our turf track, we gallop right-handed, the opposite. Just for them to think a little different. And because as Nick said, you know, unfortunately, they have to go left-handed for the rest of their life when they go to the tracks here. That's the way it is. There's nothing we can do about it. But it's not a good thing because it does overload them going left all the time around the bends. And So we try to change it up as much as we can at the farm, and that's what we could do while they're young, developing horses. Once they go to the racetracks, we don't have control of that anymore, obviously, and it's just what it is. And there's tremendous trainers, obviously, all over America that take the horses and do very well. But I think there is a difference between Europe and the way they're brought along, developed, and even from the perspective of the soundness and nutrition rate is a lot more in Europe than it is in America. Now, that's again the difference between the turf and the all-weather gallops, the all-weather training surfaces versus dirt here, which is what we have to race on and train on every day. But at least if we can kind of set them off in the right way, so they're like kids going to school, they got a good attitude, they're happy to go to school and hang out with their friends. Well, if they have that attitude going to the racetrack, then it's a big plus.
Yeah, you're definitely giving them the edge. Hence, you end up with the top horses in the country every year. So there you go. It's the luck of the Irish.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And sometimes even a blind squirrel can find it.
And in Niall's case, it is pure luck.
Well, I just go off the next steps. I just we watch what he does and
Copy it.
follow. So I guess if that's luck.
Thank you both very much. We're excited for the Breeders' Cup. Always excited that you have some serious contenders, and gives me some to watch and bet on.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, you're actually going to bet?
Of course.
Oh.
She's quite the handicapper. She's quite the handicapper. I always bet on sure things, and they always lose. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I like the ones that cuddle me. What can I say? Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Mr. Richard Larson, a man of great integrity, cares about every single bale of hay and about taking care of his customers. He also has a huge heart for those genuinely in need. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa. Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care seeks to be a leading international veterinary practice that provides state-of-the-art veterinary care to their patients while fostering professional relationships with their clients that stand the test of time. For 24/7 and the best in equine care, check out Peterson and Smith at petersonsmith.com or like them on Facebook now for more information. Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and the CEP's Equine Initiative, and we are at SGV Thoroughbreds with Steve Venosa. Steve, it's lovely to chat to you. I don't think we've had you on our Breeders' Cup coverage before. I wanted to fix that this year.
Well, great. Appreciate you coming out here.
Track you down, right? Tell us a little bit of your background. You've been doing this for a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been doing this for quite a while. I started with JJ Krupe at Krupe's Newcastle Farm. That's where I cut my teeth, and he was my mentor and got all my experience.
Great
and
guy.
I've been
Loved him to pieces.
Yeah, we all miss him.
We do.
Definitely do.
Yeah,
and
indeed.
And I've been here now, been out on my own now going on 17, 18 years.
Wow.
So I've been doing this a while. I'm showing my age, I guess.
But you love it. You love what you do.
I mean,
it's your passion, right?
it is. I mean, what else would we do, right? You know, it's a lifestyle. It's not a job or career, right? It's a lifestyle because we live it, breathe it. And we do it 7 days a week, every day out of the year. So you have to enjoy it.
You don't get a break.
Nah.
Not much.
No.
Too busy to go to the Breeders' Cup.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see, maybe,
we'll see.
right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Tell us a little bit about the couple of contenders that you have this year that we can be keeping an eye on.
Sure, it's real interesting. The one filly, Dreamfire, we bought as a yearling. We broke her here, sold her at OBS at a 2-year-old in training sale. And the other one, Brock Nardini, interesting. I was up at the 2-year-old in training at Fasig Tip up in Maryland, and Joe Picaro, who's a good friend of mine, he was stabled next to us, and he had a horse that he bought back. And you know, historically, everybody put such a big emphasis on time, and it, you know, really didn't work extremely fast. But it was a filly that I talked to him about, and we wound up purchasing. So we got 2 different ways to get there. So it was nice because not only do we break horses, you know, we also buy horses too for clients. So at 2-year-old sales, so it's nice to have horses going there from, you know, each avenue, so to speak.
That's
right?
Nice, yeah, both ways. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So do you like these two quite a lot? Do you think they've got some pretty good chance out there?
I do. Dreamfire, she's cross-entered into 2 races. You know, she was one that when she was here, she always showed that she had a quick turn of foot, and I guess we'll let the trainer decide either if they're going to sprint her or just run her in the other race. So we'll find out today. They enter. And the other one is more of a two-turn type horse, so hopefully she'll draw in and we'll go from there.
Exciting. And what are the things you look for in horses when you're buying? What are the things that are real standouts to you that are important?
Well, obviously with yearlings, we look for horses that are very balanced, very athletic, good-minded, and try to forecast to see how a horse is going to change over the next 7 months, which I think from doing this for a long period of time, you have a lot of bumps in the road that you learn from, And then also at a 2-year-old sale, it's more of a performance sale, so we have the luxury of watching horses work, how they train, how they move, and being at a sale, say, for approximately 10 days, you can really see how a horse is doing during that course of time to just kind of see which way they're going. So it's kind of 2 different ways. So that's primarily what we do, and there's several other things, but primarily, at the yearling sale, just a horse that's really balanced is the main thing, and how they move to me.
Wonderful. Tell us about training in Ocala, Marion County, the horse capital of the world. Nowhere better, right?
Oh, absolutely. We'll look at the day we have. It's really good for horses here because we really don't miss too many days. The horses really thrive here, and it's been something, I'm sure you look over the statistics year after year. We have a lot of great horses come out of here.
We do. We watch those stakes races, and in particular, we watch kind of the Triple Crown races and the Breeders' Cup, and every year, half to 2/3 of the horses had their start in this county. So we definitely see that we have very good trainers here, and we have all the other necessary ingredients for the making of the greats, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Stephen,
No,
very
thank
much.
you.
We hope to see one of yours in the winner's circle.
That'd be nice.
It would be lovely, and
Okay.
maybe you'll make it there, right?
We'll see.
I'm here with Stephen Osa, SGV Thoroughbreds, Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at SeminoleFeed.com.
Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and the CEP's Equine Initiative, visiting a friend of mine here in Ocala, Julie Davies. Julie's name has been popping up a lot in the big races due to, I believe, her selection of wonderful horses that she has in her consignment. We're going to talk a little bit about the Breeders' Cup coverage and the Ocala Marion County connections, and she's one of them, connected to 3 horses. I'm going to get these names right. Arzak, right?
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Did.
Good. Adair Manor.
Mm-hmm.
And then Roses for Deborah.
Yes.
So let's start with Arzak. Tell us a little bit about Arzak. Did you like this horse when he was here and training, and what did you like?
I did. He was a horse that we actually bought to Pinhook with some partners. I was walking through the barns at Keeneland and saw him standing there, and I was like, I want that one. Like literally when I first saw him. And he was always really, really straightforward, just very, very sound, very honest, good-minded. Seemed like he would be fast, and he was. And obviously with the number of starts he has and the number of times he's hit the board, he's continued to be sound and shown what he can do.
Could be quite exciting to see him run at the Breeders' Cup.
Yes.
Tell us about Adair Manor.
Adair Manor came to me late. That's why she went to the June sale. She came to me late, and she was a very big filly with just enough attitude to show me that she could probably be something. But we always liked her. There was no way we were going to get her ready fast. So we took our time, always pointed her to June. And but she had a good turn of foot, even though she was so big. So she went fast, but effortlessly. It looked like she was going nowhere. And Donato was right there to see it. And he loved her right away. And, he was the smart one that bought her.
So exciting to watch her run then.
Yeah.
Very much so. And then tell us about Roses for Deborah. What a lovely name.
It is. And she was a lovely filly. She was the kindest, quietest filly in the barn, probably. She was really, really sweet horse. And she had a little setback at the sale with the vetting.
Yeah.
So they decided
happen,
to keep her. And they did right by her and just gave her time. And she was quick. She showed us she was quick. So they kept her. They knew she was talented and they liked her well.
And they knew
enough.
if she had the time, she would really be something.
And obviously
now
she's proven that. I mean, she's had a great year.
That's wonderful.
And she came back to us last winter until mid-April probably. So we were lucky that we broke her, got her going, and then she came back, and then she went to Christoph, and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
So she'll be really exciting to watch, because it just goes to show, if you're patient with these horses when they need it,
Exactly.
that they'll bloom for you at the right time
Yeah.
and actually probably have a really good outcome from
Exactly.
that, so it pays off.
Totally.
Why do you think it is that you have so much success? I mean, you're hard to track down because you don't like being interviewed, but you're wonderful. But you're a wonderful trainer, and you've got some amazing grads that have come out of your training. What do you think your success is? Is it just that you have such a good eye for a horse? You obviously do.
Well, thank you. But no, I mean, there's plenty of people that have a good eye. I think some of it is you got to treat them like individuals. You can't treat them all the same. Some of them need a little more of this, a little less of that, a little more time. And I'm blessed to have Cellino riding them, obviously. He's a big plus in the program. And all the help too. Good help obviously counts for a lot.
Good team, yes.
And then good clients and good owners that are prepared to do what needs to be done.
Right.
And
And do the right thing
for the horse. Exactly.
We love that.
I think that's the main thing. If you treat them well, and they've got to be happy.
Yeah,
That's the main thing.
That's true.
Someone taught me that years ago, that they've got to be happy, which obviously makes sense. But I think sometimes people lose track of that. And
you love horses.
yeah, I love horses.
It's
exactly.
not just a business; it's a labour.
right.
of love,
No,
right?
I mean I go around and check
Visit
at them
them
all
all.
myself and pet them all myself, and yeah.
And that makes a difference.
Yeah.
When you have the love of the horse, it makes a difference.
Exactly.
And
I
then
have no
Ocala
life,
Marion. Yeah, you have no life, right?
I'm here all
Of
the
course.
time. But it's worth it when things pay off, and
That's right.
you know, like these three, it's great.
It's lovely to watch
Yeah.
them. So will you be there?
I will.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's
Yeah, I'll be
exciting.
there.
And then what about Ocala Marion County? It doesn't get much better than this, right?
Oh no,
for
it's
training?
beautiful. I mean, just look around.
Look
It's-
around.
Yeah,
It's
beautiful.
lovely. Julie, thank you so much.
You are
I
welcome.
know you didn't want to do this, but you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
I'm here with Julie Davis, and at her training centre, we'll definitely be watching her three and hope to see one of them in the winner's circle for the Breeders' Cup. Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show.
Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Mr. Richard Larson, a man of great integrity, cares about every single bale of hay and about taking care of his customers. He also has a huge heart for those genuinely in need. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa. Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care seeks to be a leading international veterinary practice that provides state-of-the-art veterinary care to their patients while fostering professional relationships with their clients that stand the test of time. For 24/7 and the best in equine care, check out Peterson and Smith at petersonsmith.com or like them on Facebook now for more information.
Thank you for joining us for our special Ocala Marion County Connections to the 2023 Breeders' Cup, brought to you by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, Larson Farms, Seminole Feed Stores, Ocala Dog Ranch, and Equus Television. We can't interview them all, but we do have our list of the connections that we know of Ocala Marion County to the Breeders' Cup 2023, and here they are. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you're tuning in for the races, cheering on our connections, and of course, we always hope to see them in the winner's circle. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show.